Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why so many people are embracing AI and my experiences with dealing with happy clients, right? So as a person with 1,300 subs, I can't make a living off of YouTube, so I have to focus maybe 90% of my energy onto other things that I won't talk about because I don't like to talk about my personal life too much. But I have a very happy client base. I'll say that, right? And one of the things that I learned how to make, one of the reasons why I was able to learn how to make happy clients is because regular people in my life make me sad, right? They make me sad because they make me feel, they don't make me feel important. One of the easiest ways to have people hand you money is A, look for people with money, and B, make them feel important, right? And it doesn't have to be this ingenuous thing, like actually make them feel important. But you ever notice that when you talk to the average person, they just don't reply to your texts or emails, or they don't they act like you're this disposable thing, right? And it's like, and you're just confused. Like I've had people, and this has been a big issue for a long time, where they would message me first, right? Or they wouldn't even say things like, "Hey, let's meet up," right? And okay, like, hey, if you're making taking the time and effort to actually like send a text message first, or ask me to meet up, I'm pretty excited. Like, I'm pretty pleased. But the average person, in my experience, is quite pathetic and lazy. And I'm actually going to be really harsh on them because they just don't do basic things. So I'll give you an example. Like they'll send a text message, I'll respond, and then I'll never hear a response. Like I'll ask another question, and then I'll never hear another response. It could be like 5 months from now, and I'm totally not kidding about this. Like they send a reply 5 months later. I'm just scratching my head like, what's wrong with you, right? Or I've had people in my life who send me a text message saying, "Hey, this person wanted me to introduce you to me." And again, I'm not taking the proactive effort to reach out to the person. They're reaching out to me, and then I meet that person, and then I just say, "Hey, nice to meet you." And then, maybe a day later, I just send a text, "Hey, how's it going?" And I hear nothing, right? And the root cause of this, and I'm going to be really harsh on people because the thing is that if you're a member of this channel or if you're a member of the group, even if you do this today, Mike, I will say just don't do it in the future, right? So some people they get so offended, like, well, I do this. Of course you do, and that's why our society is decaying, right? But all things that are decaying, they can be healed if you take the right steps. So the root cause of this is people want to feel important about themselves but are lazy, so they've branded themselves as undependable. And so this is why, like, as you become older, you have to think of yourself in a certain way. Like I always tell like myself and maybe some of you in my inner circle that you have to think of yourself as a king or a queen. You know, like if you're a king or a queen, you think highly of yourself. You know that your presence is a blessing to other people because A, unlike most other people, you're actually dependable, right? And you reply your texts and emails. And this is why I have incredibly happy client base because if somebody sends me an email, I always look at that as a cry for help, and I have a willing and paying customer, and therefore I reply as soon as possible. It could be even like 5 or 10 seconds. In fact, I even have a system where if somebody emails me, I have like this sound that blows up, my entire workspace to let me know someone's emailed me, and I would try to get the email down to zero immediately, right? And I even had a client joke that like, "Hey, you're almost like an AI," and this is like 2 years ago, right? And I thought it was funny. But why was the client so happy? Because they have you're that dependable person who's going to help them out when they need help. And because of that, that's so rare. Because that's so rare in society today, and people just don't help each other. I honestly think that's where the opportunity lies. The opportunity doesn't lie because you're smart and knowledgeable. There's a ton of knowledge out there. You could look up a YouTube video on anything. In fact, the reason why you look up YouTube videos is because the people around you suck, probably. right? And again, the root cause of all this is that people, were raised in a terrible manner where they thought they could feel important about themselves, but not put in any effort to cultivate relationships among other people, and which is why like most people are lonely, right? They think they have this weird mentality where if you actually like put in effort into things, that's like somehow a bad thing. And I've gotten negative feedback, but again, incredibly happy and thankful customers and client base. That's not an accident because I just do things that most, it's like that episode of Seinfeld where you just kind of do the opposite of what most people do. George Costanza, like somehow his life is a success because he just does the opposite of what he did before. And that's what I do, right? I just notice that things that people do make me unhappy. And then if I have a willing and paying client for some service that I provide, especially if it's my main bread and butter, I'm gonna make sure that I respond immediately, right? Now, um, again, how to stand out? It's easy. Just reply like an AI. You ever noticed that you ask something in Chat GPT, it just spits out stuff, and it's like, whoa, where'd you come up with that, right? But you notice that when you reply or email your average person, they may take like 5 months just to get a reply. It's kind of sick, right? But people have been knowing about this situation forever, so it's not like a something new. I'm not coming up with like some sort of new theory. It just became normal to ignore each other. Like the person next to you can be struggling and suffering, and most people would just pretend like they're not there and move on, right? Even people who have money are struggling and suffering. And so if they're a willing and paying client, of course they're going to take your money. It's like how I got, that big rent check, right? I didn't do anything special. Yeah, and if you don't know, my first rent check this year was 14 grand from a tenant. But that's because I listened. She said she was willing to pay. I didn't ignore her. I did not ignore her, and I got her money. And she said thank you to me, right? Like that was the easiest 14 grand I ever made. But people just do not respond to texts, emails. This is this is everywhere in society, right? Like people just, they don't respond. They want to feel like they're important about themselves, but they're not really doing anything, right? And that's why I said this is almost like an opportunity as well, because you can really just assume that most people have no one to talk to, but if they have money and they're willing to pay, then hey, talk to me, and I'm going to be this. I wouldn't say this reliable friend, but reliable advisor, right? We're not friends because this is a business relationship, but I am your advisor, and I'm going to make sure that I'm your coach, and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do what help you be your best, right? So a lot of people just, they're not there, and that's why that people are embracing AI because you use a program like ChatGPT, and then it just spits out stuff. Even if that stuff is wrong, it feels pretty cool, right? But you stand out, and you have, let's say, a business or a client base. You have to um, be able to be there for them or give them the feeling that they're there for them. In fact, this is like how the most successful people on short-term rentals or Airbnb, why they stay successful, because they know, and I've taken classes on this, but I haven't done this myself, that the person who responds first in that market is the people who survive, right? But again, so in summary, the reason why so many people are embracing AI is just because your average person is kind of pathetic, and I know it's kind of a harsh word, but they kind of are. And the AI, it just spits out stuff immediately. Yet you might take like 5 to 12 months just to get a response from emails or text just from the people in your personal life, right? Kind of pathetic, but that's where we are. But that's also why you could stand out, because you just have to do things that were basic like 20, 30 years ago. Um, things that were basic 20, 30 years ago that people for some reason just cannot do today. It's like, how probably like 100 years ago, there were probably a lot more people who knew how to cook than nowadays, right? things that were considered basic people could do. And now, I just ask your average college student, hey, do you know how to cook? Unless like they specialize in cooking, that's a different story. But they're probably just like eating out all the time and doing microwave meals because um, that's just the world we live in today, right? Like if we live in a world where your average student, knew how to cook, I'd be blown away just because it's so rare. Just like, if you respond to texts and emails quickly, especially in a business setting, you're going to blow a lot of people away just because the standards are that low. Okay. But that's also why people are embracing AI. I think if the majority of the population just did not engage in the stupid, pathetic behavior of wanting to feel important about themselves but doing nothing, um, that people wouldn't embrace AI. Like they're like, who needs AI? I got my friends, I got my community, I got people who I depend on. I don't need some, search engine that spits out facts and can't even do basic math. But that's the world we live in today, and that's what people are embracing. All right, so this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. If you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. One other thing too is that we do have YouTube channel membership. So I realize that some of you cannot afford to join the group, but we have a 99 cent per month YouTube channel membership, which gives you access to new emojis in the comments, and you're gonna have access to exclusive once a month live stream, which we're going to do in I think the next week. So stick around for more details. And so hope that this was insightful to you and maybe gave you some ideas how to improve your business if you're just starting out, or maybe you've been in business for a while. Okay. All right. Have a great day, everybody, and we will speak next time.